So, welcome back. We're in Studio 4 here at the European Development Days, and we are going to move on to one of our AGORA sessions that I will be conducting an interview with, and we're going to look at boosting circularity in the global textile industry. This is with Humana. So here joining me, I have Kai Phil, who is an environment and recycling advisor from Humana People to People. And we also have Maria Rincon, who is a team leader in the circular economy in DG Environment of the European Commission. Thank you so much for being with us here at the European Development Days. We only have a few minutes for this session, so I'm going to go as quickly as I can, if I can get my iPad to the right place. So, Maria, perhaps we can start with you. Can you tell us about the EU strategy for sustainable textiles? We know that 150 billion textile pieces of clothing are produced for the world's 7 billion people. What needs to be done? What's the EU plan?
Well, thank you very much. Well, I would say that the textile were first identified in the European Green Deal and in the Circular Economy Action Plan as a sector with potential for circularity. And the numbers you just share indicate that there's room for improvement, but it's because this figure tell us that there are environmental impacts and social impacts linked to this way of producing and consuming textiles. For instance, it is estimated that the production and consumption of textiles, it's the fifth category in the production of CO2 emissions. It's a sector that still relies a lot in the linear model of take, produce, consume, use, and discard. And there's opportunities in these challenges. The initiative that the European Commission is preparing to transform the sector into a more sustainable sector, allowing for the competitiveness and the resilience of this sector, focuses on designing textiles for sustainability, allowing for longer lifetimes, for reuse, and also for the uptake of recycled materials, closing in this way the loop. But for that, we need the engagement of industry, consumers, and as well global actors, because textile has a global dimension that is very strong, and we really need to cooperate together to ensure that textile produced outside Europe, they are produced taking into account environmental concerns, but also social and worker rights.
It's so important, isn't it? Now, Kai, we'll turn to you. Thank you so much for being with us today. Your organization, Humana, contributes to a more sustainable use of textiles while providing opportunities for vulnerable communities in developing countries. Tell us a bit more about exactly what you do.
Right. Humana is present in 17 countries in Europe where we collect the clothes, shoes, and textiles which people don't want to keep any longer. We sort it according to type and quality and make the reusable part available for other people. This work is critical in providing affordable clothing to people in developing countries, also raising funds to support social development projects, promoting reuse, and reducing waste. Thousands of workplaces are created in this process. The clothes collected by Humana last year was the basis for 6,700 formal jobs and just as many informal jobs worldwide. The surplus generated by clothes sale supports a wide range of projects in developing countries within education, health, community development, and sustainable agriculture and environment. Humana has a dual purpose with this way of handling textiles. On the one hand, to transfer the clothes and the value of the clothes to people who need it. On the other hand, to prevent that good clothes end up as waste before they are worn out. Using textiles for a longer time and thus offsetting unnecessary production of new textiles is the best way to reduce the harmful environmental impact of textile production. Humana's focus has always been on reuse. This ensures optimal utilization of the clothes in line with the waste hierarchy. For many people, reuse of clothes has always been part of everyday life. Lack of money and no access to new clothes make reuse necessary and keep good repair crafts alive. Reuse always made common sense. But in view of the environmental impact of the textile industry, and particularly due to fast fashion, this has taken a completely new dimension. We need to reuse, and reuse instead of buying new, because it's not an option to reuse or recycle out of overconsumption.
It's so important, isn't it? And it's just sort of, we need a bit of a cultural, societal, mental reset to change our behaviour. Maria, what are your expectations concerning EU action in the textile sector?
Well, I have a vision, and this vision for the sustainable textile and sustainable textile sector in the EU is shaped on the basis of the European Green Deal, as I mentioned, but also the Circular Economy Action Plan that looks in applying circularity to the sector. It means that a smart and sustainable production and consumption of textile and waste prevention takes place in the EU and the world, allowing for a flow of information along the value chain and also ensuring worker rights and environmental impacts are taken into account. On the other hand, it also means increased recycle capacity, but not only in the EU. So we can boost reuse markets and we can keep textiles for as long as possible in the economy. It also means increasing the flow of high quality and safe recycled fibers. For me, and I want to echo this message once again, it's key that consumers are drivers of change, and it also benefits companies because from this transformation they can save resources and at the same time become more competitive.
Totally. Kai, in your opinion, what are the basic changes that can transform textile management into a catalyst for sustainable development?
I can mention four. One is getting focus back on the top of the waste hierarchy, reuse, because here's where by far the biggest environmental benefits are. Secondly, enabling EU citizens to correctly separate reuse textiles from textile waste and then provide handling systems accordingly. Thirdly, investing in research and development of more and better textile recycling solutions in order to save resources and reduce waste. And last, implementation of extended producer responsibility for textiles, whereby textile producers are required to make products that are durable, not in bigger quantities than enough, and to support solutions which are in line with the waste hierarchy at the end of life phase of the textiles. If we can do this, we have come far.
So what happens if we don't manage to do it, Maria? What happens if we don't move quickly enough?
Well, someone in the previous panel was saying it's time to act. We don't have any other more options. And it is estimated that if we continue producing and consuming as we do now, we will need 3 planet Earths instead of the one we have. So I think it's a call for action now. It's on the hands of policymakers to act on regulations and to facilitate the transformation through incentives. It's in the hands of companies and businesses to integrate these changes in the structure of the companies, but most of all is in the hands of consumers that need to be aware of the impact of consumption and really look for sustainable alternatives.
Do you agree that it's in the hands of consumers, Kai? Is that where it needs to stand? Or is it in policymakers, governments? Who has the responsibility?
I do agree that it's also in the hands of consumers, but certainly also any other actor in this field.
So what more needs to be done by companies, though, Kai? Surely these sort of fast fashion outlets need to be controlled. How do we change the way that they work?
Yeah, I mentioned an extended producer responsibility for the companies producing the textiles. That would be a very important step.
And Maria, when we talk about this, when you are, writing up the policies and sort of looking at how you do it, how much consultation is there with the public?
Well, it's intense and broad, and we want to hear all the concerns of the stakeholders as well as the solutions that they are already taking place. And as you were mentioning the strategy on textiles, I want to also say that we have opened very recently the open consultation to gather views from stakeholders, citizen industry, public authorities to contribute to the preparation of this initiative. And it will remain open until the 4th of August. So I think it's time to contribute.
Kai, Maria, listen, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Studio 4 Pollution and Chemicals at the European Development Days. We look forward to seeing more on this issue and hopefully, the pressure being put on to end this sort of overproduction of textiles. Thank you so much.